Hello and welcome to another episode of Living Well with Dr. Mike. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Cockrell, and I want to thank you for joining me here today for this episode. In these episodes, my mission, my goal is to help educate you on how you can start creating a life of health and happiness today, right now, with little or minimal effort on your part. So, today, in this episode, we're going to be talking about magnesium deficiency and how that impacts your health. Okay, magnesium is one of those things that a lot of people are beginning to hear about, but basically, magnesium is a mineral used pretty much by every organ in your body. Um, it's one of those things that we have sort of tested for from time to time, but if you've had a magnesium level tested in your blood, please be aware that only about 1% of your magnesium is available in your bloodstream. The majority of it is stored inside your body, in bones, in organs, in the tissue cells, and it's hard to tell whether you truly have a deficiency or not just based on a random serum blood test. It's not always very efficient to monitor. But when it comes to magnesium and its importance, why is it so important um, today, and why is there so much talk about magnesium and magnesium supplementation? Well, let me give you a few things. One, magnesium is probably one of the most overlooked minerals in our entire body. It works in a whole host of operations, as you'll see later on, more than 3,000 binding sites on proteins, and it is found in more than 300 enzymes in our bodies. It is estimated, however, even though it's such a prominent mineral in our body, it's estimated that as many as 80% of us may be low or deficient. We know now from all the data that's out there that magnesium levels are crucial to maintain optimal health. In fact, if you have had unexplained fatigue or weakness, any kind of abnormal heart rhythm, if you've noted increase in muscle spasms or eye twitches, those are a few of the early warning signs that you may be deficient in magnesium. And oftentimes, magnesium is considered a hidden deficiency, like we talked about before. Most of the magnesium in your body is actually stored in bones, is stored in cells, it's stored inside the organs. It's not readily circulating, so it's not very easy to detect a deficiency just by looking at an isolated blood test. So, magnesium has also been linked to a whole host of chronic medical conditions, or actually just medical conditions in general. And here's the list. They include anxiety and panic attacks, asthma, blood clots, bowel diseases, cystitis, depression, detoxification issues, diabetes, fatigue, heart disease, hypertension, hypoglycemia, insomnia, liver disease, kidney disease, migraines, nerve problems, tooth decay, fibromyalgia, cramps, spasms, chronic back pain, PMS, infertility, preeclampsia, osteoporosis, Raynaud's phenomenon. As you can see, there are so many medical conditions that may be aggravated by low levels of magnesium that it's becoming very important to pay attention to what you're doing when it from a magnesium standpoint, because you want to make sure that you are optimizing your magnesium intake so that you can help reduce the symptoms of any or all of these conditions. Let's look at some of the early symptoms that you may want to look for when it comes to magnesium deficiency, because sometimes paying attention to what your body is telling you is one of the most efficient ways to start asking questions and find out what might be wrong. So, if you have been noticing fatigue, unexplained fatigue that you have no reason for, a loss of appetite, an increased occurrence of headaches, nausea, muscle weakness, numbness and tingling, muscle spasms, cramps, increased risk of seizures, personality changes. If you've noticed abnormal heart rhythms, your heart skipping, irregular, racing, coronary artery spasms where you're getting some discomfort in your chest, any or all of those things may actually indicate that you have either a mild or severe magnesium deficiency, and that needs to be addressed very quickly with your primary care physician or your health care provider so that you can get something done about it. If we look at chronic disease, magnesium has a significant role in chronic disease as well. We have seen from the data and the research out there that people with higher magnesium levels seem to have a reduced risk of impaired glucose metabolism and insulin metabolism. And as you boost your magnesium, you may actually slow the progression of prediabetes to diabetes. So having low levels of magnesium is going to put you at risk of having problems with your blood sugar. Higher magnesium intake seems to improve bone mineral density, which is very important as we age, because as we age, we tend to have thinner bones. They get less dense, they get more brittle. It increases your risk of fall, and we know that there is a significant risk if you have low magnesium. You have a significant increase in risk of hip fractures, and hip fractures are one of the primary indicators of more rapid death in an aging population. So keeping your magnesium levels high decreases that risk of hip fractures. High magnesium levels improves your bone mineral density. Higher magnesium levels have now been associated with a lower risk of colorectal cancer as well. So how do we get our magnesium? Well, one of the primary ways to get magnesium is from the foods we eat. The problem is, if you'll notice this list, a lot of these foods are probably not foods that you have commonly in your diet, yet you need to be eating some of these foods each and every day in order to keep your magnesium levels well supported. Some of the foods that are most important in helping maintain magnesium levels is seaweed, green leafy vegetables such as spinach, Swiss chard. Some of the beans have a lot of magnesium. Some nuts have a lot of magnesium. Pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds are loaded with magnesium. And avocados are a great source of magnesium when it comes to getting your magnesium from foods. There are also a few things that actually deplete your magnesium that you need to pay attention to. The first one on the list is the excessive intake of sodas and caffeine. Now, for me personally, my opinion, excessive intake of sodas is more than 1 or 2 sodas a day is excessive. You need to limit your soda intake to no more than 1 or 2 sodas a week, in my opinion, in order to keep from depleting your magnesium, and actually just for good health in general. It's amazing how many of my patients drink almost nothing but sodas, and that is crazy. You are wrecking yourself metabolically, nutritionally. You are creating a whole host of deficiencies that is going to be more and more difficult to overcome as you get older. Excessive intake of caffeine has also been linked to depleting magnesium. Now, typically with caffeine, we consider excessive intake more than about 3 cups of coffee a day, or more than 1 or 2 energy drinks. So be really careful when you're drinking a lot of caffeine, because it's going to hinder your ability to absorb magnesium, and it's going to actually increase the likelihood that your magnesium gets depleted. Menopause. Women who are experiencing menopause tend to have a larger or greater depletion of their magnesium levels. Older age, as we age, we don't absorb magnesium or other minerals as well, and so you tend to have a natural depletion as you get older. There are a number of medications that contribute to magnesium depletion: diuretics, corticosteroids, antibiotics, antacids, insulin. So pay attention to what you're taking, especially if you're on a diuretic. I mean, you'll notice that a lot of these things go hand in hand. A lot of times as we age, more people are on blood pressure medicines. Diuretics are one of the primary sources of that. A lot of women who are having menopausal symptoms deal with a lot of fluid retention, and so oftentimes they will be given a diuretic to use intermittently. So you can see how some of these things combine and may actually accelerate your depletion of magnesium. And then gut dysbiosis. And if this is the first time you've actually heard me talk about anything, you may be a little confused by gut dysbiosis, but we have talked about this over and over, and how your gut functions, that relationship between the good bacteria and the bad bacteria in your gut actually has a significant impact on how you absorb not only minerals but how you absorb vitamins and other nutrients, and how your body handles blood sugar and fats and everything else. So you're going to hear me talk a lot about getting your gut healthy. In fact, in my course, Simply Weight Loss Online, I have 2 or 3 entire lessons about how to optimize and create a healthy gut environment so that you can maximize weight loss, nutrient absorption, and keep your body healthy. So if you're interested in learning more about gut dysbiosis, you may want to take a look at the course, Simply Weight Loss Online. You can find information about that on my website at www.livingwellwithdrmike.com. So let's look at some other tips to help increase magnesium. If you're not a big vegetable eater, one of the things that you may want to do is consider juicing your greens and start drinking some type of green juice. Lots of spinach, Swiss chard, seaweed, those types of things are great sources of magnesium, and it's easy to get that level up significantly with juicing. You may want to start taking some regular Epsom salt baths. Now, Epsom salt baths are ideal for detoxification in general. So, if you're trying to relax and restore your health, taking an Epsom salt bath once or twice a week is a great way to do it. Epsom salts is actually a magnesium based salt, and when you are soaking in a tub of Epsom salts, you are actually able to absorb some of the magnesium through your skin. Using a magnesium oil, there's a lot of essential oils and magnesium based oils that are out there. Using those on your skin can also increase your absorption. And then finally, taking a magnesium supplement. And I have a ton of my patients using magnesium supplements because it is a quick, easy, and efficient way to actually boost your magnesium, especially if you live in a part of the country where you do not have good access to vegetables and foods and nuts and those kind of things that you need, or if you're just ripping and running and you don't take the time to feed yourself properly. Using a magnesium supplement may be a good alternative to some of the other stuff, at least to keep you from becoming deficient. So when it comes to supplements, the list is extensive. You can see there's a number of different kinds, and what I want to do real quick is I'm going to run through each one of these and give you just a couple of tidbits of information about them. Magnesium glycinate. This is a chelated form of magnesium that tends to provide some of the highest levels of absorption. It's readily bioavailable, and it's typically considered ideal for those who are trying to correct a magnesium deficiency. Magnesium oxide. This is a non-chelated type of magnesium. It's bound to an organic acid or a fatty acid. It contains about 60% magnesium and has some stool softening properties. You'll see a lot of the magnesium supplements actually help your bowels stay more regular. They keep your stool soft, and that's a big benefit. Magnesium citrate is magnesium with citric acid, which, like most magnesium supplements, has laxative properties. It's also well absorbed, very cost effective. Magnesium sulfate. These products are typically things like milk of magnesia. The thing that I would tell you here is be aware that it's easy to overdose on these. So only take magnesium sulfate products as directed. Magnesium carbonate has antacid properties. It contains about 45% magnesium. Magnesium taurate contains a combination of magnesium and taurine, which is an amino acid. Together, they tend to provide sort of a calming effect on your body and a calming effect on your mind. And then finally, magnesium threonate. This is a newer, more emerging type of magnesium supplement. It seems to be very promising. It's primarily due to its superior ability to penetrate the mitochondrial membrane, so it's much easier to get magnesium threonate intracellular than it is some of the other magnesiums. So when it comes to magnesium supplements, if you're looking at this as part of my online course, Living Well with Dr. Mike, uh, then inside the course materials, there's an attachment section, a resource section. Inside there, I have included for you several handouts about magnesium supplements, which ones are beneficial. I've given you some readily available resources in there so that you can actually some resources on where to go to get those so that you can keep the cost down and it's very affordable. So check out that if you're on the online course. If you're not already a member of Living Well with Dr. Mike's online course, then I would encourage you to go to www.dockrell.com. That's DOCCOCKRELL.com/living well, and see if that course is something that may be appropriate for you. Inside that course, I put all of my teachings, all of my trainings, my blog posts, my videos, my MP3s. There's a ton of PDF files, a resource page, information. I've got all of that information in there. I've got it readily available. It's categorized by topic, so it's easy to find, it's easy to get around it, and I would love to see you inside that course as well. So check that out if you haven't already. Now, I hope this information has been beneficial for you. If you want more information about what I'm doing, go to my website, www.livingwellwithdrmike.com. You can find all of our current updates, our blogs, our podcast. Everything is right there, ready for you to take a look at. It's easy to find. I would encourage you also to connect with me on Facebook at facebook.com/Living Well with Dr. Mike. In the Facebook group, I give you the opportunity to communicate with me. I would love to know how this information is working or impacting your life. I would love to know what questions you have. I would love to know what kind of problems, concerns, issues that you are struggling in dealing with so that I can help you understand how to create a life of health and happiness in your own life starting today. So be sure to connect with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.